Hi, it's Kim. This is my vegetable garden, my veg patch. We've transitioned this year to raised beds. As you can see, this border here was our in-ground garden. And when we get closer, you'll have to excuse the dogs. They think I'm out here to play. I've never videotaped in the backyard, so. And as you can see, we got some cows in the background. That's Faith and Hattie, mom and daughter. We live in the country, obviously. And there's about 48, almost 40 acres total. And that can be sometimes overwhelming for flower gardening, which is my normal videos. As you can see, I've put some pie plates up because the birds were pulling out my plants, probably crows. And then I have an arch there that I want to decorate. I want to hang a little sign from, give it, to make it pretty. All right, let's walk in a little bit closer. Some of this paper will be taking up and let it go back to grass. It was time to redo the paper because this paper has been down for, and I have the drip irrigation running, so you might hear that noise, as well as the pie pans. But you can see we put new paper down under the raised beds, so there's no holes. This is how we gardened, and I apologize, there's stuff lying all over, through holes to keep from having to weed. And it's very effective. I'll never go back to just normal in-ground gardening with no paper because we both work full-time and do not have time to come out and weed. So we just had strips, water irrigation strips running down either side. I prefer the 6-inch spacing. We started with 12-inch spacing, but then switched. And I would have at least 4 feet in between the rows. But this is what we've done this year. So we plan on taking that paper up eventually. It's just with the dogs back here, I was afraid in the spring it would be really muddy, and they love to dig, so there's that. This hose here goes all the way out to the cows' watering station. My husband ran a line from the house out, buried a line out to here, and then we have 2 spouts. One for the cows and one for the garden. All right, back to the flower beds. That's just my garden shed there. I have 5. The middle one is decorative. You'll have to excuse my nails. I have gardening nails. I have not, only planted up this one is all onions. Oh, and so many of them. They look rough. They really look rough. We do use a lot of onions. I mainly cut them up and freeze them so that I can just throw them in a dish to season. I also caramelize and can some in little tiny jars. I do not have cold storage as far as no freezing, no. It gets too warm in our basement. Our basement is a finished basement. planted 3 types of onions. I planted Patterson, Walla Walla, and New York Earlies. New York Earlies is my first try at, so we'll see. I did 4 strips of drip irrigation. My husband helped me. I don't have it on a timer yet. I basically run down and turn it on in the morning and then hope to turn it off before I leave for work. Or I set a timer for a half hour or so. I have hardy kiwi that I'm gonna try to grow up the trellis. I know they can become too heavy. We'll see. This is their 3rd year, although in their defense I had them in the ground and a weed patch for 2 years, so with a trellis, but that one made it up to that far last year. So we'll see. We will see. The drip irrigation is not buried in the garden because I wanted it above the paper. I didn't want to have to deal with doing any repairs or anything under the paper. I have more hardy kiwi. I have 1 male and 2 females. That one over there is doing the best, and that one is the male. So that male and that female are doing the best. This one's trying. It does have some green. And then I have broccoli and cauliflower. As I've said before, we are Zone 4B, upstate New York. So it is middle of May, not quite. It's Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there. So we still have a chance. In fact, we were under frost warning till 8 this morning, so I can only plant cold weather crops still. No warm, they're still all inside. So broccoli and cauliflower and my hardy kiwi. That's it. Walking in, this is going to be my decorative box. I haven't run, I'm going to do drip tubing because I want to run it in a circle. This box is square, the others are rectangle. So I eventually will probably plant an evergreen shrub there, is what I'm thinking. Just haven't quite decided what. And then flowers around it. This year, though, I do have an Enseti banana that I think I'm going to plant in the center. My only fear is that it's going to get so big that it's actually going to shade out. But the way the sun comes over, I think it'll be okay. So I think I'm going to try it. And the Enseti in the middle and then flowers around the outside. Might even do, I'm considering also putting some pumpkins in, a couple of pumpkins as like trailing, and let them just trail out on the paper. And then I have 2 more boxes. One is going to be totally devoted to tomatoes, maybe 2. I also have peppers and green beans to plant out. So this bed here is only half full. So we will probably, I don't know, maybe put my peppers there. So we'll see. There's a quick little video on the veg patch. Also have a little orchard over there. 2 peach trees and 4 apple trees that do not do very well. The peach trees are the tallest. The problem is the dogs in the winter. So it doesn't, we can get like feet of snow. We're right off Lake Ontario, so we get this thing called lake effect snow. So we can get feet of snow during the day while we're at work. So fencing, even the cow fence, the pasture, the snow goes up above that. So it doesn't matter even if you fence them in, then the dogs walk on top of the snow and have access to the trees. And they chewed the top of a couple of those apple trees off. So there you have it. Showing a couple of new areas in my gardens. Got one more area maybe that I will show you. Let's walk over there. Try not to get you dizzy. Trying to plant more conifers this year, and I've already planted quite a few. Sneak peek around the shed. That there is a pin oak. That pin oak was planted. I got them from our extension or soil and water conservation extension. They have the spring tree sale every year. So those were probably like little 12-inch sticks. Focus for me, there we go. Probably 7 years ago. That one isn't my best one. My best one are out in the front yard, but it's doing all right. Okay, so over here, the outside of my shed, I have 3 boxwoods not boxwoods, tater tot arborvitaes that have been in that flower box, I don't know, 3 or 4 years now. I have this trellis up because our St. Bernard, Toby, likes to lay on top of the juniper. I want to say it's gray owl. That's a new plant. These are older on the edges. These are mugo pines. They've been there this is probably their 3rd year. So this one's new this year. And I just wanted to give it a chance. For some reason, he likes to lay right in the middle. Kind of hoping to cover up that gap underneath the building at some point with my bushes. So I've got some orange. That's Tucker. I got some orange stakes all around my yard for where I have an evergreen or a tree coming. Another tree. I have a bunch coming. Alaskan weeping cedar. I have a lot of weeping trees. It's my thing with conifers. Love them. So I have a lot of these orange stakes around the property where it's my thing where I kind of wear it there for a little while, see from the windows in the house, what do I think? Is it going to be really visible? I have to think about location as far as that's not going to get any shelter. That is the east over there. So that is where the prevailing winds come from off the lake. So, but I don't want to shade. I have to think long term with a tree, and I don't want to shade my garden. So I don't know. I did have it up here so it would get a little protection from the a little southern exposure protection as far as sunburn in the winter, but I don't know. So I have one there and I have one over there. So I'd like to plant 2 more trees down here. Kind of like to do my trees in triples too. I have 2 weeping birch coming, which I hope, now like I'm kind of picky about the birch and the willows as far as how they look. So hopefully they stay looking nice. So that is we actually hay that field. We have a farmer that comes and hays that field for us on the halves for our cows. So we have this little kind of road right here that runs in between that we drive on down to the cows. That's Rudy. That's my daughter's dog. It was a rescue. Comes to visit us on the weekends. That's out looking towards the road of our property and the side. Sorry, we've moved on from vegetable gardening. I wanted to show you some more evergreens I've planted. I want to do more on this side of the house. This side of the house is, ironically enough, and yes, I need to pick up that ladder, where we see most from the road driving up. We typically drive up this way, but it gets the least amount of attention. Not sure why. It is the, did I say that was the east? That is the west. That is the west. The wind comes from the west off of the lake. These are yews. This is their 2nd or 3rd year. A hydrangea. Oh, a hydrangea and a viburnum. Some leftover hay. You can see this is a viburnum hydrangea. So my intentions are always to make new flower beds, and I never do. The hardest thing for me here, and the lawn needs to be mowed again, the hardest thing for me here is getting a hold of good compost. That's soil. So my husband is removing soil around the barn because we're making a road over there, so he wants to put gravel. So I want to use the soil, so I have these mounds of soil around my yard that I'm going to plant in, but they're not easy to plant in either. They're full of rocks. Anyway. Another pin oak, bought at the same time. That one is much smaller, probably only 5 feet. It's a casualty of winter snow removal. All right, let's see here. Sorry, make you dizzy. Turn back around towards facing the house. I planted, you all right, Toby? I planted 4 arborvitaes here. This one on the end here is a North Pole. These are emerald, I want to say emerald green arborvitaes. And then I plan on putting hydrangea. I have hydrangeas coming to go in between them. We'll see how that all pans out. They're a little further apart than what I would like, but I know they're gonna get big and closer, so we'll see. All right. I think that's where we're going to wrap it up today because it's actually pretty cold out here. So there you have it. The other side of the house and the veg garden. Hope you all have a very happy Mother's Day. Bye for now.